So tell us a little bit about, for those who may not be familiar, about the situation going on for LGBTQIA folks in Uganda.
Well, quite a few years ago, the evangelical Christians from the United States went to Uganda, thousands of them, and traveled all over Uganda preaching a message of hate towards people that were LGBTQ plus people. And a law was passed back in 2014 that was then overturned, but it came back up way more stringent than it had been to begin with. And what it did is it was passed in Parliament in March, and then it was signed by the President in May, and it calls for 20 years or life imprisonment, or in some cases the death penalty. It also makes it illegal for a landlord to rent to somebody who is gay, for an employer to hire somebody, and it asks all citizens in Uganda to report on anyone they know that is in this community.
Which means that parents are asked to turn in their kids who are LGBTQ+. Kids are asked to turn in their parents. Best friends are asked to turn in their best friends.
And when you get put in prison in Uganda, and I know this from personal experience having visited a prison in Uganda, that the way it works in that country is that people that you know, people that are your friends or your family, bring food to you in order to feed you. I mean, the prison will give a very small amount of food, but it's not nearly enough to actually live on. And they expect your family or somebody to bring you food. In this case, that can't happen, because if you go to prison as a friend or as a relative to bring food to somebody from the LGBTQ community, then you're implicating yourself and you'll be in prison.
So one of our friends, one of the people that we're working with in Uganda, said to Ellie, this law is a death sentence. The imprisonment isn't 10 to 20 years in jail. It's the death sentence, and the government knows that it's purposeful.
And not only that, if you aren't sent to prison because you haven't been found, you're in hiding or whatever, you can't work and you can't get housing from anybody. So that in itself is a death penalty. You can't eat. So our little organization here, what we've been doing is we've been raising money, and we've been sending money for things like food to feed children, to feed the adults that are part of this community. We've been trying to find them a safe place to be, which is mostly other places in Africa, though some people are hoping to come to another country.
That's because almost all the adults that we're working with, the landlords have immediately or soon after the law was passed kicked them out onto the street. So they haven't had a place, and we've been able, with these amounts of money that we've been raising just between us, to rehouse about 8 of the adults that we're working with to a place that's a little bit safer.
Right.
So what is this fundraiser? What's it look like?
So the fundraiser is happening tomorrow, which is July 25th from 7 to 9 here at the Old Dutch Church in Kingston. Everybody's welcome. What we're trying to do is explain more of what the situation is about. We're going to show a little bit of film. We're going to have various people talk about what the law is. We're going to do a little performance that will be done in the words of the people that mostly Isa has been speaking to live every day for the last month, 2 months, something like that. And we're actually using their words, and we've got performers who will be here that will be doing a play of sorts.
And then we'll be accepting donations in all the ways that donations can be received. So every way someone can bring money to us, we'll accept tomorrow evening. I think it's important to know that 4 of the local faith leaders are going to be helping to lead the evening tomorrow, including Pastor Rob from the Old Dutch Church, and Rabbi Yael Romer from Temple, from Congregation Emmanuel here in Kingston, Father Richard from across the river in Rhinebeck, and Father Frank from the Ulster Immigration Network. And Jen Metzger has agreed to speak. She's going to be speaking at the beginning of the evening.
It was really important for us to have faith leaders be part of this, since it was faith leaders from the United States that in a large part caused this problem, like the evangelicals going into Uganda and preaching this. And we wanted people to know that they're not all like this, that there's people that have very strong faith that believe in real human rights.
And all of these faith leaders are very well educated in the history of Uganda.
So how can people donate if they can't make it to the dinner?
We have a GoFundMe platform that they can go to, and the link is gofund.me/EABCF851.